This is KBCI.blogspot.com, YouTube, Boston, G.B.R. I'm standing in front of the Valdosta State University campus here in Valdosta, Georgia, in the county of Lowndes, in the state of Georgia, to say to you that this is where we send our children to Valdosta State University to receive higher levels of learning. However, if the news from public meetings here in Valdosta are not reported to the general public, such as the disparity when it comes to employing blacks in positions of authority in the Valdosta City School Board of Education, in the Valdosta City governments, in the Valdosta law enforcement areas and arenas, in the Board of Commissioners, and as well as Valdosta State University. We must ask ourselves, as Floyd Rose of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, the president, as well as former NAACP President Lee Turchin asked at several public meetings here in the state of Georgia, but all were ignored by a controlled news media network here in Valdosta, Lowndes County, and South Georgia in general. So I came out in front of Valdosta State University to say to you, how long will the people in Valdosta be left ignorant when it comes down to disseminating information at public meetings here in the state of Georgia? Does not the citizens and taxpayers have a right to know? In the South Georgia Regional Library, to show you how the citizens are pushed to the side, suppressed and abated, and put on the end of the agenda at every public meeting practically here in Valdosta and Lowndes County, Georgia, even after our elected officials. That means the citizen to be heard is only heard right at the end of agenda before adjournment. Then they tell you that they will get back with you. And we have discovered that getting back with us means almost never responding to the citizens here in Valdosta and Lowndes County, Georgia. And so I came out here today, Valdosta State University, to say to the general public, why should we send our children from other states and around the world to come to Valdosta State University or to Valdosta to receive an education where we can't even get the news disseminated by our newspapers, television, and radio stations? It is as if though the old Valdosta 1860 charter mentality is alive and well. And what is the old 1860 Valdosta City Charter? It was a charter that was displayed in Valdosta City Hall, the second floor, that led into Judge Edwards' office. That 1860 charter that was reluctantly removed in 2004 read that the mayor and council shall pass all proper and necessary laws and ordinances for the control of slaves and free persons of color, and to control, suppress, and abate all nuisances arriving from hogs, dogs, horses, and other livestock straying at large in Valdosta for whatever reason. Although that charter was removed, as Minister Floyd Rose and President of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference said on 3 or 4 different occasions this month, yet our news media don't want the general public to know anything when it comes to racial issues, equal employment under the law, the 31 jail deaths, and the inhumane conditions in our jail, wherein women are in the old jail, where they say they got rats as big as cats. They won't report that to you because they don't want you to know that. Moreover, on March the 8th, 2010, we are told by credible sources, a person put it on tape in video form, that on March the 8th, 2010, there was an individual inmate in the Lowndes County Jail that was tased and he died. He died, y'all. But the general public know nothing about it because nothing was ever published in the Valdosta Daily Times, on television, or on radio. Yet we want our sons and daughters and from other sons and daughters of other parents from around this country to come to Valdosta and talk about how good Valdosta is because we got a good football team, Titletown USA. But if the people cannot be heard and if their issues are pushed to the back burner, why should anybody want to come to a place like this? Why? Why is it that at county commissioners meeting, the general public and TV stations are in a little pyramid-shaped corner of the room way in the back, as if though they don't want the general public to know what's going on? In fact, in 2013, they should have a television camera in this metro city so that all the people will know what's going on in our community, and not just the conservative on 105.9 FM and 91.2 on FM, the conservative radio station, when 55% of the population are black and minorities who don't listen to the conservative radio station. Possibly I listen to it because I want to know what's going on. But why cannot this metro city do what the professors asked here over 45 years ago from Valdosta State University? Why don't you put these public meetings on the radio or on TV so everybody will have equal access to the information of what takes place by our elected officials? Now, Minister Rose and Lee Touchton and Mr. Robinson and other outstanding citizens of our community over the last years have been omitted from the news for the most part. The beef that grinds at public meetings are totally ignored, as if though we don't have a right to know under our form of government. Yet we send our sons and daughters to serve at the Moody Air Force Base to go die on foreign battlefields, only to have the news suppressed and abated here in Valdosta, Georgia. And I know you agree with me that a change must come to Valdosta, or we're going to stay behind the power curve here in Valdosta and never move forward. It is time now for the people in Valdosta to wake up to the realities of now. We should not be a metro city with a small town mentality that dates back to the 1860 charter, which was to control, suppress, and abate all nuisances arriving from hogs, dogs, horses, and other animals, including black folk. And now it seems like it's been expanded upon where everybody are suppressed and are controlled. I just believe that it is indeed time for a change. And so we're going to continue. My friend John Robinson is right now going into the office of the Justice Department because they were here Sunday night. The Justice Department was in Valdosta, and we are not going to keep it secret. We didn't call the newspapers because we know they wouldn't cover it anyway. We didn't call the television station. We didn't call the radio station to tell them that the Justice Department would be here because they wanted to know about the jail deaths, that they wanted to know about Egerton, Hilda Egerton's husband that was murdered at G95, or that Kenneth Johnson's son, KJ, died mysteriously in the Lowndes County gym at the Lowndes County High School. So they want to hear of the tensions. They want to hear what the news media are failing to report. And we are 100% sure, we who stand for truth and justice, we who stand with our sons and daughters stationed at Moody Air Force Base under those wing commanders who process our sons and daughters to go to foreign countries to protect the rights of others. But we who say we follow Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, and others just sit back and play a game and dip, which means we duplicate, imitate, and placate those great leaders, including Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. But when it comes to standing up for what is right in our city, we go to the background. We can't hear nobody speaking truth to power in Valdosta. It is time for a change. If we are a metro city, then we got to get a newspaper that represents metro status. If we are metro city, we got to get TV stations in the Valdosta that is an equivalent to a metro city. But we cannot be a metro city with small minds and unable to process right knowledge. Once again, this is Boston G.B.R. on YouTube. My blog, Boston G.B.R. kvci.blogspot.com. Doing what we do because it must be done. We cannot continue to watch our sons and daughters fill the jails and prisons, but can't fill the jobs here in Valdosta and Lowndes County because of what Floyd Rose say, a design to keep us undermined. But they don't want you to know that, so they won't report it. But thank God that in these days and time, he made a way out of no way. When you get time, read Luke. Read the entire chapter of St. Luke, and then close it out with St. John 8:32. Peace be unto you.